Mucklick here, and I don't like game reviews that take 20 minutes to give 5 minutes of information. This is Indiana Jones and the Great Circle, an action-adventure video game. It is available on PC, PS5, and Xbox XS, and is rated T for teen. In full disclosure, I received this game for free as part of my work, but the goal of this review is to determine whether or not this game is worth its $70 price tag for you. The game's setting, with no spoilers beyond the tutorial. Indiana Jones and the Great Circle takes place after the movie Raiders of the Lost Ark. For the younger crowd, that's the one with the famous scene of Indy swapping out the weighted idol and running from a boulder. The game tutorial actually replays that famous scene at the beginning, and afterwards snaps back to Indy waking up at the university he teaches at. He hears a noise and goes to one of the exhibits of artifacts he and others have collected for the museum and finds a giant of a man there. After a brief scuffle, the giant gets away with some stolen items, and Indy plans to pursue him across the globe. This leads to him uncovering a greater plot involving the Great Circle, other artifacts, and, of course, the Nazis. General gameplay. Outside of cinematics, you have full control of Indy. You can run, jump, crouch, move freely, block, parry, punch, fire a weapon, use your whip, or makeshift items. Indy isn't a superhero and does not excel at hand-to-hand combat, but can when forced to. Often, you will sneak behind enemies and knock them out with anything you can find on hand, or if they see you, you might strike them mid-range with the whip to stagger them, then lay the hurt on them before they can recover. Using firearms is often an option, but will usually alert every enemy in earshot who will come running to the sound. Using these skills, you will get past enemies laying between you and your objective, solve ancient puzzles, help friends along the way, and uncover the secret of what led that giant to your doorstep which started this all. You do not have an inventory or talent tree or anything to customize Indy in that way. You are using the tools he normally has, plus anything you find worth breaking over people's heads. Indiana Jones and the Great Circle took me about 15 hours of gameplay for the first playthrough. I did a few of the side quests, but not all of them. If you 100% of the game, you would get a bit more time. Comparisons to other games. Indiana Jones felt like something in between a visual novel and a true RPG. It has a heavy emphasis on the story with many cutscenes, but was not tied to it, allowing you a bit of freedom to roam, explore, and do some side quests. At the same time, it did not have the freedom of RPGs that allows you to build and customize the character you play. I do not say that is a bad thing, but it is something to be aware of. The details. Graphics. Indiana Jones aimed for realism with their graphics, and I think they did a wonderful job. They successfully avoided the uncanny valley, and all of the characters we already knew from the movies were easily recognizable. The environments themselves were crisp and good looking. In terms of the graphical approach they were aiming for, I think they nailed it. Sound and music. The music was immediately recognizable if you have seen the films. Many of the songs and transitions from the movies were used in the game. It is also worth mentioning here that the voice acting was stellar. Troy Baker was the voice of Indiana himself and sounded nearly identical to a young Harrison Ford.
Yeah? You ain't no nun, sweetheart.
As a scientist, I don't want to prejudice my experiment. I'll let you know in the morning.
Controls. Indiana Jones and the Great Circle can be played with a controller or with mouse and keyboard. I played the game with a keyboard and mouse, and I hit 2 issues during the playthrough. One is that dodge and jump are the same button. I really wish I could have separated these to 2 separate keys. The other was that the game has a parry and does allow you to rebind it, but does not allow me to bind it to the right mouse button. This may be a complete non-issue for many of you, but that is typically where I put parry in games that have it, so I definitely played worse not being able to use the key I'm used to. Post-playthrough Muckluck here with a quick note. It looks like this was patched. As I was recording this segment, I was able to change that key binding finally, so this appears to be a non-issue going forward. Saving system. The game uses checkpoints. You cannot make manual saves, but the auto-saving checkpoints are frequent enough that the times I died and had to reload, I was not forced to replay much and did not feel that I suffered as a result of this. Content creator concerns. None. I streamed my entire playthrough on Twitch and YouTube and uploaded the entire thing to our Muckluck Plays YouTube channel and did not experience any muted VODs or have any issues with copyright claims, except for a sharing claim for the music included in the opening and closing credits of the game. Do I have anything negative to say? Periodically while playing the game, it would crash outright. It happened 4 or 5 times during my playthrough, some of which when I was alt-tabbing out, others just randomly. As mentioned before, the issues with the parry, jump, and dodge key bindings. The skill book system. Take this as a chance chance to learn from a mistake I made. You'll occasionally find books that say they give you a benefit, such as restoring some stamina when knocking out an enemy. I thought that you gain that perk after you read the book. You don't. You need to navigate to a tab in your journal and unlock it after acquiring it. Because I misunderstood this, I went the entire game without any of these unlocked, and I learned this at the end. Lastly, the martial arts fights. In my opinion, the toughest fights in the game basically boil down to learn how to parry, then punch him back. Rinse and repeat. For me, this only had some challenge due to being unable to bind the key where I wished it to, but overall I think these encounters definitely took away from the gameplay as a whole. Final thoughts. Despite the list of items I just covered, I want to stress that those all together made up for a very small percentage of the game's playtime. Overall, I had a great time navigating the beautiful environments, talking with the other characters, solving the puzzles, and seeing the story unfold like a fantastic movie. Plus, sneaking up on fascist number 372 and bonking him with a shovel was fun too. If you enjoyed the Indiana Jones movies in the past, I think you would definitely love this game, as it fits nicely in that series. If you haven't seen them, but like the idea of playing an archaeologist that solves puzzles and occasionally throws hands, I think you would like it too. All that said, I feel that $70 is a steep price, and I personally would recommend bookmarking or wishlisting this title until it goes on sale and then picking it up. However, if you disagree, then hopefully I've provided enough information that you can make an educated choice on whether it's worth it or not for you. Also, at the time of this recording, the game is available on Game Pass. This video was not sponsored, so if you enjoyed it, please consider hitting the like button to help us out with the YouTube algorithm, and subscribe for more content. If you'd like to see more of my own playthrough of Indiana Jones and the Great Circle, I'll include a link to that playlist from our other channel down below. Subscribe there too. As always, a massive thank you to our dear patrons who make content like this possible. If you'd like to become a supporter and earn early access, there's a link to that in the description. Happy exploring!